I'm a noble figure. Local niggas, they be so offended. What word, this global business.
Hold on, let me ask y'all a question. All y'all niggas in the same school and all that?
Hell, fuck yeah.
So now y'all niggas smoke weed?
Fuck no. Don't fold if you say you win it. I was voted to it, now for it. Can't control, just the highest limit. Killing shit, but just an honest living. Gotta get it, ain't no time for wishing. The time is now, better pay attention. In my city, you can feel the tension. A terror squad, no pun intended. This ain't for you, but I recommend it. They know we coming, better clear the entrance. Shit get deep, but I keep digging. This how I look when you keep winning. Over time, I had to take the hint. Shine bright, sit behind the tents. 1-on-1, I ain't in the mix. Ain't what you thought, better get a glimpse. Came up from a pedal bike. The brakes I ain't never liked. Whole time I take a rip and play with me cause they know I'm going nice. Round form, I ain't even started. Transform, I ain't here to bargain. You're on watch, better move a caution. Chains on me, I don't do this often. No error, this shit's flawless. Reach for it, you become a target. It ain't worth it, better keep walking. All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. This about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. To get the moving like Brian told. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. This about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. Get the moving like Brian told. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. Don't wanna hear all that street shit. Me and my niggas on defense. Wonder who I was in my past life. Don't even matter, now peep this. Remember the days when I was a trooper. Stay on the path and it won't confuse you. Bars all, I'm the one to do it. I roll on eights like a flight maneuver. Try to trick me, I ain't never moving. Camouflage, I can blend into it. They better ride, I don't do the Ubers. Let them talk, I don't hear the rumors. A little suffer ain't really nothing. The way I stop it, better play the trumpet. You see me coming, better get the running. If they see me coming, better get the running. You ain't never seen it, you ain't never witnessed, you ain't never noticed, you ain't never focused. I was really waiting. Was really training, sick and tired of being patient. I ain't never doubted, this was in the making. Use what I got, not in the wasted. But rapping and singing can never drink it. But I'm from the bottom, so I gotta make it. This ain't rapping, it's a damn warning. Late night to the early morning. Got a vision, I planned it out. Trying to stop me, but I kept going. I study plays, now I'm in the game, and it's all the same, but I had to change. You'll never crash if you in your lane. I can take the loss, cause it's all a game.
Yo, what Casamigos being English? Drunk.
All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. This about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. To get the moving like Brian told. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. It's about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. Get the moving like Brian told. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed.
Be careful. Be careful. Watch your dance. You hear me? Bring no Christians out here. Something happened. Watch your
Trying just to crash out. Whip full of crash dummies. 10 racks in the wheel. That was on gas money. Chopper got a round of applause if they act funny. I be here, you know, with a crown, but I'm still hungry. Never was the type to be a lie. Let's get the business straight. I pray you niggas get me cross the line, then we demonstrate. I ain't even wanna rap, but damn, we could use the bag. Talking about how I used to be that boy that was in the past. Played the cut, jumped up in my bag. Let's see who gon' last. See the snakes, and you let it slide, you ain't cut the grass. If we can't be friends, then fuck it, let's be enemies. Niggas weird, catching attitudes, bitch tendencies. They say they looking for me, I'm in the mix, where the winners is. Playmaker, trying to get a sack, different energy. I don't like it, and you see why. I'm launching like Eli. The world on my back with 2 clips in my Levi's. Steady sitting high, I can tell you where the angels live. I don't give a fuck of who you are, I feel like David did. Story ain't nothing shorter than glory, man, I came to win. All my life I knew I was something special, they hated it. Pressure bust pipes, I hold it down like an anchor. Never see myself as a regular, I had to change up. Shout out to the powers above that show me the ropes. With the same rope, I hate this rap shit by the throat. Don't ever get me involved with the he say, the she say. Cause I'ma think none of y'all official, then I press play. Living by law, by a code, by a structure. Niggas think they swift until the hawk meet the hunter. I owe this to the Lord and I put that on my cover. Never try my honor, father, never switch up on my brothers. Never try to imitate, eliminate anything that's in the way. Reciprocate, you draw, we gon' illustrate. Let's demonstrate, you lost We gon' celebrate you featherweight. I can't even resonate. I separate myself and I got activated. They was fascinated how I broke it down and renovated. I was underestimated, clearly.
Westworld.
You already know what it is, West forever, yeah.
I mean, you ain't gotta pay no price to buy no corners. Since when do we buy corners? We take corners.
Man, you won't buy one way or another. Whether it's if the bodies we don't lost or you're gonna lose. Time in the joint is behind us or ahead of us. I mean, you gonna get some shit in this game, but it ain't shit for free. I mean, how many corners do they need? How much money can a nigga make?
More than a nigga can spend.
And then we ain't gonna be around to spend what we done made already.
Shit, I think I can be around this long.
Yeah. Well, we here.
Yeah. I know a nigga murked his own man cause he was fucking on this bitch. He got booked, now she's sick. She out here sucking all these. Told my young boy to chill cause he was hitting all these licks. Now he resisted, now we 6 feet. He was thinking with his dick. Better hearken, youngin' man. I'm dropping gems, they call me old school. Gon' fed on the gram and who you shot and who you gon' shoot. 600-page indictment, nigga, what you gon' do? Up top, what them life is, you don't fight, all you do is shoot. I know them crackers mad as hell because they wanna see us dead. Plotting our demise, holding counsel just to stay ahead. This one was just forever. We gon' paint them nations red. If you not under this banner, then you all do's mad. Man, I'm from the trenches, they ain't know it, show us love. All we know is extensions and the way you throw a slug. We done made a move on you and we don't care who it was. On the gram, I saw my youngin' send a nigga up above. You would've thought me and the squad was fatigue how we run shit. Better yet, that saw block. Better yet, that saw strip. My general said if it's not one Western, it's not legit. Fuck every cracker, go to their grave and go and take a piss. Mama, I'm the Israelite, I'm pulling strings like Santana. Gotta keep the blitz because in that mix it get bananas. I adapted to it. Right before the skis and went bandanas. I'm the big bad wolf, come down your chimney like I'm Santa. Pussy niggas said that they was gon' slide, but they ain't do shit. Got a couple hammers in the ride, don't make me bang shit. Got a couple crackers on my mind, I'm trying hang shit. Yeah, I'm in the field, I'm still pissed about the slave ships. Daniela got some big shit to make a rain flip. This pump turn you to an acrobat with these backflips. Mom said 12s ask you questions, but not say shit. Mom said don't neighbors ask you questions, but not say shit. I'm true to this, ask your old head, I ain't new to this, I'm too legit. If one West world and we running this, I'm gunning it. Advise every cracker to be intelligent, irrelevant. For all them fake camps that we ain't marching with. This clip that I got like holy water, I'm trying to throw it on you. You pledge your allegiance to them snakes, they turn for you on you. Pillhead / crash dumps, I keep it real with you. You told me you don't trust none of them niggas, and that's a real issue. I don't give a fuck, you wantin' beef for what you all did. That before they signed the same words that Paul said. Clip full of racist motherfuckers, it got bald heads. This shit that I got dumping in your ears like some skull heads. Why you trying to claim the same wreck that your man's did? Y'all was sign lacking, main reasons why your guys dead. Always gotta keep one in the head before I go to bed. Fuck a DJ Khaled, this one West, this what God did, nigga. One West world. Nah, we coming, nigga. Not tripping. Tighten the fuck up, you heard?
Advertising on YouTube helps me reach engaged customers like Jenna, who's been searching for landscapers on Google. She wants my ads there with a link to
UPK 1 West 125th Street, Commander Junior Hunter, UPK, no cows, no excuses. You understand? Go ahead and let them have it out.
Count on one car. Every time. Shit. Revenge, Lord. Lord knows I should name you niggas. IUIC. You left the truth back in the days we can't claim you niggas. IUIC. You locking niggas up scared as fuck, I can't blame you niggas. IUIC. We the prophets and priests with them precepts you run up, I change you niggas. IUIC. You niggas say niggas like niggas ain't shit. Hating your brothers with words as it gets. You bitches can't sing it, your verses ain't shit. Your body gon' burn in the bottom.
You ain't gotta pay. Just when we
Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck PD. Won't beat with feet. Take it over, nigga. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to start a fire. Whole team full of riders. Every dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga. Come on. And don't care where it is. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm wrapped out, tell them watch your mouth. You know we gon' bend your block. I'ma walk in time bomb. I go viral. You niggas like TikTok, yeah. This ain't what you want. Tell them throw in the towel. We make niggas hit the clock. And with our toe fire, rain brimstone. They gon' think that you live a lie. We ain't got no picks. We want it all. We gon' make you pick a spot. We knocking on the door, so let us in. Or you know we gon' pick the locks. We in the field for real. Every day while y'all just say watch. We making enemies our foot stores. Don't know nothing about the op. It take one try when I rock out. I'm like David when I sling shots. I'm putting attachments on everything. Y'all want me connect the dot. This drum got 50 unreleased hits. You don't wanna be the next to drop. I put them in a box and make that shit double wood. You don't wanna be the next to fly. Yeah. Niggas feeling themselves. Get a shovel, tell them dig the pot. Can't fit you and your man's in it, just tell him get a bigger box. Cause I'll put you in one and knock you out one. Call him my nigga knock. I'll put your song on, cut it on you, and then tell you that shit was hot. Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck peace, getting even. Won't beef with feet. Take it over, nigga. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to start a fire. Whole team full of riders. Every dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga. Come on. Don't care where it is. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. Big soldier, nigga. I come in the name of the boss. So my niggas that is wartime. Already wait the calls. That point shoot bitch. Red Dead Redemption. Got them niggas scared to whisper. Is you with us or against us? Can't stop to the zone lock. I don't think get the picture. It come from my head, I'm giving them lead. The preacher give him a scripture. Flow cold style vicious. Niggas sweeter than the missus. Got soldiers posted. I put them on your roof. Merry Christmas. Bring hither and slay him. Got the Glock out the book of Luke. Keep it stick like Dumbledore. Play dumb, I'ma let it loose. Call my gun harmony. Call my main bitch Betty Boop. He the truth, I'ma need the proof. Got stripes like Beetlejuice. Hit his ass like a Louisville. Hit him low, then I hit him high. Bring him home to the umpire. Give him bars like Wi-Fi. Turn the booth to a bonfire. Little bitch, I'm a live wire. I ride like a cocktail. It's on mine when I ride by. Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck peace, getting even. Won't beef with feet. Take it over, nigga. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to start a fire. Whole team full of riders. Every dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga. Come on. Don't care where it is. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I heard they coming for blood, I'ma be coming for more. Give me the floor, they better come with a mop. I'ma be making it pour. Nigga, I'm raw, fly with the hammer like Thor. Found on my ops in the morgue, tell I'm on four. I'ma be bombing these lanes, understand how and war. I've been the lead, time to get back in the street. Time to get back on my feet, had time to read. Check out, we came from the east, wait till my dogs are released. Heard they was asleep, so we gon' wake them up. Put them up in the sky, the Lord gon' take them up. I take on anybody, think he brave enough. I've been the same and I ain't never changing up. I'm in my zone, hit up my cellular phone. Tell me whatever he on, I take that scouter. He on them perks and that powder, homie ain't really that strong. I'm like a dog. Better yet, Benny King, I keep a lion head on my pinky ring. I keep a shield. Boy, you see everything. G43, Symphony, let it sing.
You ain't too, you crazy.
Hear the hunger in my voice, they used to tell me to speak up. The problem wasn't what I was saying, they couldn't keep up. Instead of moving around with some patience, they tried to speed up. It got colder than a bitter bitch, found me a way to heat up. What's a favor for a favor if we all didn't make it? Kept it 100 with everybody, but they just won't change. I ain't get caught up in the hype, cause I ain't feel like I made it. Couldn't picture me here now, but here's your moment to frame it. And I ain't never understand that self-entitlement spirit. I felt your vibe, I don't wanna get near it. Before I made the appearance, I took a second, took a look in the mirror. This God, Lord, the only thing that I fear. Y'all got me fucked up. It's all passion. It's tradition. It ain't fashion. It's no action. They make threats and it's still passing. I think massive. No respond. That's still tact. Y'all should quit rapping. Cheap shots. I'm cinematic. I ain't average. I'm an overdose fanatic. How I go, you lose and win like asthmatics. I got first. That's automatic. I'm the best in my division. In the ghetto like the pigeons. In the hood like the engine. You a bird for that chicken. I don't fake split decisions cause my mind made up, nigga. We in the end of time, but my time ain't up. Now when I was young and running wild and wide-eyed like a cabbage patch, I had to get it as vivid, adapted to my habitat. It's certain shit I won't do, certain shit you can't prove. My shit sound like a payday, yours like more when the rent. If I had $1 for every dime you counted, I would be broke. Watch it be coast, got a better chance, boxing the goat. And they know I'm raw, and they know the squad, and I'm feeling lost, still in charge. I don't make you follow, I follow the law. Standing tall like they on Mars. I just got a call from my bro, he behind the wall, he told me let it off. Niggas lying for some cat, I got a different line in me. Everybody intimidated, I got that guy in me. You get focused on them dimes, I'd rather keep my nine with me. Help me get this off the ground, just know you won't fly with me now.
I try to make the news, I ain't playing by the rules. I've been trying to play it cool, but that ain't gonna be the devil. Y'all out here looking like fools. Home with the truth, I ain't never had to choose.
I'm trying to get beamed up, man. I try and make the news, I ain't playing by the rules. I've been trying to play.
All right, clap it up, clap it up. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. We've been bringing in this truth since 1969, that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true Israelites of the Bible. We are the people of the book. And this is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. This is ISUPK Charlotte, broadcasted live from 1539 North Ridge Avenue, Kannapolis, North Carolina. Shout out to the other schools in North Carolina. But for the Charlotte School, you can follow us on Facebook at ISUPK Charlotte, on YouTube at ISUPK 704, and also on YouTube at ISUPK G Borough. You know, shout out to the other schools in North Carolina. Like I said before, we got ISUPK Durham, ISUPK Fayetteville, and Goldsboro. Give it up to North Carolina again for hosting the 54th annual Lord's Passover. Let my brother in the stream. Hey, Shalom, y'all, Bashim Shabbat. You can hear me?
Shalom, Shalom, y'all.
All right, got my Officer 500 Makwa in the building. Just giving it up again for the Lord's 54th annual Passover, man.
That's right.
You know,
damn right.
North Carolina held it down. We went through some trials and tribulations with the haters, but of course we don't let nothing stop us when we got the Lord on our side, man.
Right.
You know, newspaper articles, live news reports, it don't matter, man. When you got the Lord on your side, we ain't stopping from doing this work, man.
That's right.
And the Passover was glorious, man.
Damn right.
A glorious event, man, from start to finish, man. So it's so great to see my blacks, Hispanics, and Native American brothers come together in one place, man. It's like, man, you don't have no beef, man. Like that's unheard of in our community, man. But not here in the ISUPK. It's the norm, man. It's expected. But if you could, brother, Zephaniah 2:1. We always start with this scripture. And right now, today, coming off the Passover, it just seemed to hit a little bit different, man. Hit a little bit different coming off seeing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans actually living the scripture, man. When you got it, read it.
God. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. I mean, Salaki.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Salaki, I was in the wrong. There we go. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together, O
Yeah,
nation,
man.
not
And that's
desired.
what we did, Salaki. That's what we did in Raleigh, North Carolina, man.
Right.
We gathered ourselves together, man, as we always do in the ISUPK, man. This was the Lord's 54th annual Passover, man. Since 1969, the ISUPK been coming together, gathering together. Of course, we gather ourselves together before the Passover, like all year long. We one body, man. We one body in the UPK. But when the Passover comes on, then we all get together in one place and hug each other and lay eyes on one another and salute each other and look each other in the face and see that brotherhood, and give that love to each other, just like a family reunion, man, like Israel's supposed to, commanded by the Lord, man. Like gathering ourselves together is such a beautiful thing, man. It's like a little small glimpse to the kingdom, man.
Right.
Like I can, like it strengthens my like your spirit and your zeal to coming to the Passover, man. Like
Right.
it's like the world and all of the little troubles you got, going on in your day-to-day life mean nothing once you see all your brothers come together, man. So
Right.
you know what we doing is actually working, man. Because we all living according to this Bible, man. We doing what this
That's right.
reason why we gather together is because of this Bible. And Salaki, with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Precinct Officer 5000 Lahab.
All right. What's going on, Makawa?
What's going on, sir?
All right. Let me get the screen. Okay, that's Tawab. You know how to operate if I need to ask you to look for something.
Come with car.
All right. So we just coming back from the glorious Passover. I know Bob's probably going a little bit about it. Glorious Passover here in Raleigh, North Carolina, man. That was a Tawab Passover, man. That was
Damn
for the
right.
books. I mean, once again, I compared my first Passover was the best, but all Passovers are great because, that's just for everybody has a different experience.
Right.
At this point, brothers that come to Passover now, hoping that's the last one they go to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not because they don't want to be around the brothers, but because we're hoping Christ come back.
That's right.
Every Passover, things get, in this earth, things get wickeder and wickeder. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm saying the right word, but and we ain't got no liquor or nothing. But every year, every Passover, it seems like the earth just gets more vile and wicked.
Right.
And it's in more turmoil than it's at an all-time high. Wickedness, greed, what's that? Mischievousness, all of the bad things that plague this society, and because we're part of the slavery in the society, it plagues us, blacks and Hispanics, and Native Indians as well. It gets worse and worse. And over the weekend, man, it was proof that doesn't have to be. Like the general said, somebody asked the general was like, "Is there going to be wickedness? I mean, is sin going to exist in the kingdom of heaven? Will we be able to sin?" And because I forgot who that brother was, but because coming out of Christianity, in Christianity, everything was a fairy tale. And in this society, you're made to believe in not miracles, because miracles are real, but in like a fairy tale lifestyle. And I believe the brother, because he thinks, I ain't saying that he did, but because the society, it teaches us fairy dust. So like all of a sudden, we're not gonna have that like the Lord is gonna take that gene out of us, or that that like we're robots, and you can just say, oh, I'm gonna take that, you know, that part where this robot can't sin anymore. Like it's not like that. And I understood it like it was so spiritual because the general said, no, the kingdom of heaven is gonna be a government of righteous men that will uphold the law above anything, and will not allow sin to exist. That everything that they rule over will be ruled strictly and very carefully for the things that today are possible to make us sin that won't exist in the kingdom. And one of the things the general said was television, social media, the media, advertisement is what he said. Advertisement is what makes you sin. Like he was like, well, did you smoke weed because you're just born to smoke weed? Or everything you did that was sinful in this society, it was a learned behavior. We learned it from our oppressor, the hippies in the 60s. Go ahead.
Like them damn Cheech and Chong movies.
Right. That made you want to get high. Listen, I wanted to get high when I was a teenager because of rap music. So it's the God, honest to God truth. Now I love rap music, and we had, man, give it up to. I was in that, man. Look, we had some real rap. We had the Black Party, man. It was some the rap and the music that ISUPK and the brothers that rap about anything in this school. It's about uplifting each other. Nothing was about kill. I mean, the message sounds hardcore, but nobody's saying I'm gonna sell you 20 pounds of this. I'm gonna give you 30 bricks. You can flip it. I'm gonna roll this purple, and you're gonna drink this lean. Like, but when I was growing up, the music videos of people rolling up cigarettes and marijuana, or the smoke, like that made me want to smoke. So I understood it. It also made me want to go to the strip club. Those things will not be allowed in the kingdom of heaven. And therefore, because those righteous men that rule will not be, they won't be allowed, those things won't happen. That sin won't ever be advertised. And whoever thinks about doing it will not live to see the next day. Main example, the Passover. Anybody in our Passover was twerking? Nobody went outside and was smoking weed. There was children. I mean, it was big. I mean, I don't know how many people we had, but it was a lot of people, man. I would say over 500 people. And it was kids just roaming around, getting lost. I don't know how many people lost kids. I mean, it was just losing kids left and right. And the brotherhood is so strong that the mamas weren't even worried. I didn't even see the mamas. Like, the mamas like, come get your kid. It's up here. And I'm like, damn. Like, mama's over there. Ah. You know why? Because that brotherhood, that's the glue of it, is the moral glue of our society that we're building, is by obeying God's laws. Your kid's okay in our building. Your child is okay in our school. Your woman, man, you got a pretty woman or whatever. You let your wife just be out there just anywhere. Nobody's gonna holler at your wife. Nobody's gonna shoot their shot at your wife and talk bad about you and wanna take her away from you. Nobody. I ain't worried, man. Look, go ahead. I ain't worried about it because I understand how we roll. Because I understand there's men that won't allow it. It's men that just won't allow it. No matter who you are. You ever seen those and I'm not saying these guys are more righteous than anything, but well, look what they're trying to. Well, I don't know how real this is, but look what they're doing to Donald Trump. He used to be the ex-president. Did they put him in jail already? He's going to jail. He's going to jail. Well, I seen like a rare case where some sheriff from another town was driving while under the influence, and it was like a young cop, pulled him over and he told him, "Man, nobody's above the law." He's like, "You going to jail? I'm sorry, sir, but not above the law either." Well, that's the same mentality that the ISBK has here.
That's right.
Who you are, we're gonna be uphold. We're gonna uphold the law above everything.
That's right.
And we won't, stand for nothing else. And that's why you can be comfortable and have your children, your wife, anybody, your mother, anybody. You can lose jewelry. I mean, whatever. Like I think everybody gets their items returned back, right? Nobody's gonna steal them. And somebody picks them up, it's just because you left them somewhere, and you got to go ask about it. But that's the beauty of the ICPK, and that's a piece of the kingdom of heaven. That's a piece of the kingdom of heaven, and we do the things that we do, like commemorate the Passover, commemorate and celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread today. We're doing that today all the way to Sunday, because those are the traditions of the children of Israel, which they remembered and who their power is, so that we can keep upholding, the Most High and His law above all. That's how you remember who you are, by your traditions. And blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that have no knowledge of this truth uphold traditions of your oppressors, of our oppressors. When we celebrate Valentine's Day, there's a tradition of our oppressor. And those traditions and those celebrations, we will sin. Sinful advertisement will be allowed. And you're going to want to do those things. What do people do on Valentine's Day? They have threesomes. They have sexual orgies. They promote sexuality, homosexuality, all kind of wickedness. The adultery, the 4th of July, everything that's not of the Most High. And like the beauty of what we're doing now, like the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? It's a spirit behind that. I mean, the law is to, eat unleavened bread 7 days, don't, watch out for the leaven. How brothers now, they're watching out. They're reading everything. But what's the spirit? What's the real spirit behind that? Anybody know?
Serving the Lord.
It's a precept. I'll give it to you here in a second, but what's the spirit behind why we do this now? What do you do now? Like, how's your day going? Like, I mean, even, younger brothers are more, prone to making, making a mistake or not knowing, but they put a list out there of stuff that's not living in agents, and you got to take the bread out your house. But now you're on your what? You're on your, what would we call it? Sister Shakara said obedience. Yeah, that is part of it. But you on what are we right now? Like, what are we right now? Like, we're on. It's a black and Hispanic word that we use. We're on our P's and Q's.
Oh,
See,
come
you guys
on.
know the men and labor among you. We know each other. Like, we're on our P's and Q's. Like, we're like, man, we won't eat that. We won't eat that because if we're like, it's almost life and death dependent on it. But ignorantly you won't, nothing to happen. But right now, brothers are like, no, I won't eat none of that. I'm watching, I'm diligent. There's a spirit behind that. It's deeper than not eating the bread. And let me give you and it's got something to do with brotherhood and yes and obedience. Let me get it.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees.
Now go read a few verses above it. Like what verse? Matthew what?
16.
Matthew what?
That was 16 and 6. So
16.
Go up to.
Okay.
Before you want me to go up.
Let's get it.
Let me go up to 1.
6. Yeah, go to 1.
It's like I let Marco get it.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Marco. I'll take Matthew chapter 16, verse 1. Salakia? No, I'm good. I'm too wild, brother. Don't want to call me tomorrow. It's to eat in the haste and not waste and suffer with Yahushua. It's all of it is true. We're keeping the Feast of Unleavened Bread to commemorate the Most High, what He did for us. But Christ is the best teacher.
Right.
And, coming out of Egypt, we seen all the miracles. We seen the Red Sea part. We seen the pillar of fire by night and the cloud by day. We seen water come out of a rock. We seen, the manna fall from heaven. We seen all the miracles. Moses lifted up the serpent. I mean, and yet we did not change. Coming out of Egypt, yet only a few made it into the promised land. Even after they seen all these things. Why? Because they were still living among, I gave it to you, but because they were still living amongst that nation of people. Not living in like the yeast. And Christ is going to explain what it is, the leavening that you really have to watch out for. Now, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, we're watching out for something. We're like, oh man, let me read this. Oh, hey, Salaki, can somebody put the list of what to eat, what not to eat, what to drink, what not to drink. And they made a long list. And the general said, all leavening agents, sodium bicarbonate, yeast. There may be others that, to be safe, you just take everything that is like bread that's risen, or anything with flour that okay, well, it might be something in there. Just, make your own, or, like me, Hispanics, I'm from the tribe of Issachar. We know corn tortillas ain't got no leavening, so we just keep it simple.
Right.
And just get away from all of that. You don't feel as bloated, but that's not the reason. That's not the real leavening that we have to watch out for. There's another leaven that's really the one that the Most High really, if you can do things like not eat certain things and watch out for certain labels, because you don't want to make the mistake of eating the leavening agent, then you can also watch out for other things that are more spiritual, that will cause you to sin against the Lord. Read that scripture.
16 verse 6, or we want to start at 1?
Verse 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would shew them a sign from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2. And he answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. Verse 3. And in the morning it will be foul weather today.
So, you know, like today, Commander General Yohana is the leader of this nation. He follows Christ. And, the ISUPK been around since 1969, man. I heard the stories, and I heard, the brothers that would, that, and I'm almost give it to you, but I'm gonna bring it to that point. The truth is so important and so it's such a treasure. And brothers that keep it is because they kept things away from, what would make this not pure.
You're right.
So Commander General Yohana has kept the traditions of the original school because that's where the truth was discovered with the men that first discovered it. Man, I've been told so much like the stories, and I believe it. And one thing we have to watch out for is the leaven that will destroy and that will destroy this brotherhood, because it's things that we do that should never change.
Right.
That we should never add something to it to change it, because that's what the yeast does to the dough. The dough is flour and water and oil is just flat. There's nothing to it. It'll never rise. It'll never change. But when you add the yeast or the leavening agent, that's when that no longer is the same thing. Now it's a different type of, it's the same. It's still dough, but it's not in the same form. It's no longer just dough and water. So read on.
Come.
So these Sadducees and Pharisees were questioning Christ, like, show me a sign, show me something. And Christ was like, man, Christ will cut him. Like, man, look, like, in the morning when it's about to rain, you can look up in the sky and be like, man, damn, it's cloudy. It's gonna be a rainy day. You can tell that, or you can see the evening. You can just see the sky and be like, man, it's gonna be hot today. Might be some storms, but it's gonna be hot. We know these things. You don't even got to be a meteorologist to know these things.
Right.
Read on.
The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 3. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the times.
O ye hypocrites, you can discern. You can discern the weather, but you can't discern, the end of times, the sign of times. You can't discern what time we in. But here in the ICPK, we can discern what time we in. We know where, like the general said, we're at the end.
Right.
Now the end can also be relative. The end could be 100 years. It could be tomorrow. The scripture says that no one knows the day and time exactly. It can't be pinpointed that way, but you can see the sign, and you can see that it's necessary. It's necessary for Christ to come back, and it's looking like he will be coming back here soon. I can't tell you exactly the date and time. It could be in my lifetime, it could be in your lifetime, it could be in your children's lifetime. But it's around the corner. Read on.
The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 4. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign.
Say, look, man. Christ was cutting the Pharisees and the Sadducees, but he was also cutting those who were along with him. Say, man, Israel is a wicked generation, and they seek a sign. Some of my people, man, in the Christian church are stuck with those pastors that today, if Christ existed, just like they do Commander General Yohana, I'm pretty sure some of those pastors that had something to say about us having that convention center Friday or Saturday, Sunday. But they probably, said all kind of wicked and vile things about our name. Because those same people were to crucify Christ today. And they seek a sign. Read on.
And there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas.
So he said, look, you don't understand it. So ain't gonna be no sign. You don't understand the sign, so you will never understand it, but you'll know, just like Jonas, that's the sign. Read on. Like just like Jonas, where Jonas went into the belly of the fish, and he didn't know like the sign that he was looking for. Like he wasn't sure if that was the Most High sending him somewhere.
Right.
He knew when he was in the belly of and he wasn't dead, and he got spitted out. Like, oh man, that's why I got to do this. Read on.
And he left them and departed. Verse 5. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgot to take bread. Verse 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
The Christ, look, so when they went to the other side, his disciples was like, man, we out of bread. Now this wasn't unleavened bread. Now, it's not a sin to eat unleavened, to eat bread with leavening. That's why I say, that's why we say, like, this feast is spiritual. The hope, like, it's a sin to eat leavening now because we're in a feast. It's a commandment. It's the law. It's a high holy day. But that's not the real spirit behind that. So when we're not in the feast of unleavened bread, you can eat all kind of bread. Hell, that's why you eat the bread.
Right.
It looks fluffy and delicious, especially if it just came out the oven.
Right.
Hispanics, man, Mexicans, tribal Issachar, we go to what they call panaderias, like these bakeries where sometimes they bring out the bread in the morning and it's really hot and fluffy, and man, it's delicious. So it's not a sin, but these brothers were hungry and they asked for bread, and Christ was like, okay, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. This is what I need you to watch out for. Read on. Read that again.
What kind? The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Why did he say take heed and be wary of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees? Notice they just asked for bread. That's all that's all they wanted. But that was bread with leavening. Though that's what they wanted to eat. And Christ was like, well, take heed of something real quick. Read it again. Salakia.
The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Verse 7. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread.
So they was like, man, what is he talking about? Why does he say watch out for the leavening of the Sadducees? Is he talking about it because we don't have no bread? We forgot the bread? Read on.
The book of Matthew chapter 16, verse 8. Which when Yahushua perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves? Because ye have brought no bread. Verse 9. Do ye not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000? And how many baskets ye took up? Verse 10. Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000s, and how many baskets ye took up?
Read on. Go ahead.
Verse 11. How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees of the Sadducees?
Uh-huh.
Verse 12.
So Christ said, look, man, I ain't even talking about that. You don't understand anything. Just like right now, when I ask, what is the spirit behind what we doing right now? Keeping the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Everybody's thinking like, oh man, so that we won't sin, because we're so focused on the fact of watching out for yeast, which is correct. That's what the commandment says. Those are the things to not use. These are the things to not participate in while we're in this feast. But that's not the real spirit, because just like you watching out for the yeast, like, oh man, wait a minute, it has yeast. Oh man, I can you get away from that. And you don't understand that what it's really saying is watch out for other doctrines. Watch out for other teachings. Watch out for advertisement that it will that will change who you are. Now, we came into the truth. We got cleansed. We changed. We became new creatures. We're fresh dough right now. And the Most High doesn't want us to be leavened, or and I'm just making a metaphor or just a comparison. But listening to the Christian church will take us back to that.
Right.
Leaving this truth and going back to, believing what every nut that you hear on YouTube. Listen, man, I like watching stuff on YouTube, especially now, man. All I do is watch reels. I don't even watch YouTube videos unless I find something really interesting, like that on YouTube, or that I just watch for a 2-hour interview. But I really just like watching people do short clips. That's addictive, right? You notice that? You ever did that, yeah? Makawa?
Kawaka, sir. All the time.
The YouTube short and reel it's addictive.
Right.
And I watch all kind of stuff. I watch, all different podcasters and sports commentators and people in science and other cats teaching about other stuff, and nuts that talk about Anunnakis and outer space aliens and ancient stones that somebody that so on and so forth. But what I won't do is eat everything.
Right.
Because I want to watch for that leavening. And that's as we should. Meaning we should look at things, and some things you just stay away from. Stay away from that learning. Stay away from that doctrine. A lot of us come into the truth, man, and we start listening to all these other nuts talking about the book of Jaffer and the book of what's the other book they talking
about?
Enoch, and you stay away, and you turn and you stray away, and we stray away from the truth, from what cleansed us. What cleansed us was this brotherhood, these traditions, this hardcore spirit. Building these camp signs, sisters coming in here and doing their 90 days before even thinking about court. And these sisters wearing their headpiece, dressing in modest apparel, serving the Lord by, making sure brothers get the cap, they got something to eat, and bringing substance to the, to the school and to this work. That's the tradition.
Right.
And keeping the high holy day and going to the feast days and being amongst your brothers.
Right.
And watching the class and that breakdown they gave us, that's the breakdown. Then you start listening to some crazy guys like, no, but you see, the pyramids were built such and such, and And the book of Jaffer and Enoch went up and he was in a spaceship and the Anunnaki and they genetically modified the humans. And like, okay, that's look, I watch it because I like Marvel movies.
Right.
I watch all the Thanos and the Galaxy Guardians and I watch Spider-Man and Dragon Ball Z. I admit it. Can I admit it? I like that stuff. I love stuff like that. But I don't believe it. It's science fiction. It's not true. It's just entertaining. That's all. Hell, I like it so much. I get into the whole storyline and the plot. And I could tell you about, a character and his background and when he was born, but I still know it's fake. I mean, when I was a kid, I probably could have, made more of my mind that it could be real, but you're young and you're a child. You don't know no better. But as an adult, when you start believing in this stuff, you already letting that leavening. You're not watching now, just like the Christian church. You come in here and you're like, yeah, this is but then, you watch, TD Jakes and all these pastors and you start watching them again.
Right.
And they start corrupting you. And you're looking, and then you allowing that leavening to, that doctrine to then, stray you away from the truth.
Right.
That's what this is saying. It's saying, read it again. Read neither the 7 loaves.
Kawakar. The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 10. Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, how many baskets ye took up.
So he's like, man, look, that ain't what I'm talking about. I ain't worried about no food. You didn't see what we did. We fed everybody. That's not what I'm saying. That's like right now. You keep the feast. We keeping the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We commemorating it. We doing it. And we're going to do it right. And we're going to be diligent about it. And we're not going to eat the yeast and all of that. But that's not really that's not the spirit. That's not the real leavening that we're watching out for. In here, we watch out for the leaven of other doctrines. And here, we don't. Why do you think Commander General Hanna says we are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group? If it's not of the ISUPK, it is not of the truth. Why is that? Why is that, Kiara Ward? I got a precept for it. You got a precept for it? If anybody can give me this precept, it's kind of similar to what we're talking about.
I want to say what is that scripture? I want to say the precept. If he, I'm butchering it, but I know it's if ye, it's like it's what is it? If ye can't agree or whoever, man.
No.
Not that one.
Not that one. Think about what this is saying. Read verse 11.
Come. The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 11. How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread?
Christ is saying, how is it you don't understand what I'm saying? You're talking about the bread. Listen, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, but that's not the spirit behind that. That's not the spirit behind this feast.
Right.
The spirit is to watch out, but not for yeast, but to watch out for other philosophies, other doctrines, other teachings. Watch out for the sin. Watch out for the things that would stray you away and take you away from this truth.
Right.
The murmuring, the misunderstandings between your brother, but mostly from from the other teachings and from the from other philosophies and doctrines. That's what Christ is telling them. Read on.
Come. The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 12. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leavened bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Verse 13. When Yahushua came in.
So he was saying, then they understood, like, oh, okay. He was saying, man, because the Sadducees and the Pharisees could be convincing.
Right.
They understood, like, man, he ain't talking about bread. He's talking about watching out for those snakes, watching out for those men, that type of men. Our sisters, man, we come in here, man. Listen, like I said, I was just giving an example of the type of trust that this brotherhood and this school provides. And sometimes you'll speak bad about this. You leave and you speak bad about this truth and this body, and you go back to that wicked pastor or that wicked type of individual that you left once, because you never really was watching out for that. We were never really, you were never really diligent in watching out for these things. If you can't, you can't watch out for. That's why, yeah, you watching out for not eating and drinking. I mean, really eating, bread with leavening agents, because, you on your P's and Q's.
Right.
But some brothers ain't never really cared.
Right.
Some brothers don't never really care. Some brothers are just, a lot of people that ever came into the truth, from what I know, were just around, but they were really never watching out. The general was making a about the man with Gideon, just being aware. That's the spirit, to watch out for other doctrines, other teachings, people that want to take you away from this truth. Read on.
Come. The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 13. When Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, saying, whom do men say that I am, the Son of Man am?
All right, drop that. So once again, the spirit of this whole feast, man, is deeper. It's deeper than just eating, not eating bread with leavening agents. It's deeper. Because once again, what I was going over is, you can, it's a lot of, I would think that I can see the influence of social media. I can see the influence of people you ain't never met. But these people that have a platform are powerful speakers. A lot of people, man, listen, I'm going to tell you what. It's a guy named Andrew Tate. Are you familiar with him?
Come.
Now, I like him. I like some, once again, he's just like watching Dragon Ball Z. He's just like watching, a Marvel movie. He's just like watching Thanos and, all these, cartoon characters. Because he promotes this masculinity and I remember when I started watching, I was like, oh shit, look at who this dude is. Who is this dude? But I had to be careful. I had to be real careful. You know what kept me careful? That I already had somebody like that. I already had Commander General Yohana.
That's right.
I already had General Mahiman. I already had Captain Nathop.
Right.
I already had men 1,000 times better than a guy like him. Just because he had a little, he had a little money, and he talked about, being, man. And we like, man, we teach that. We teach that, the man is the man. That the Black and Hispanic men, Native Indian men are, above anybody. We don't degrade women. We don't abuse women. We don't molest women. We don't rape women. And we teach our women are supposed to be in submission,
Right.
and we teach we can have multiple wives.
Right.
But you never gonna hear Commander. You're never gonna get. Put it like this: Commander General Yohana would never get arrested for the accusations that guy got arrested for.
Right.
You see, you have to watch out for that, because you start listening to that and you start liking that, and all of a sudden you're rolling with that. All of a sudden you don't believe Commander General Yohana no more. All of a sudden you don't believe Christ anymore. All of a sudden you don't believe in the truth anymore.
Right.
Now you believe in something else, because you wasn't watching out for that leavening. We wasn't watching out for that, and a lot of people do that, believe it or not. So give me the book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 10, 9 to 10. Galatians. Find that scripture.
Kawaka.
And maybe you may have to read a verse or two above it. Oh.
What chapter was it again? You said chapter 9, verse 10.
Galatians. Give me the book of Galatians chapter. Let's start at verse 5 and 1.
Kawaka. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ have made us free.
So Paul is saying, he wrote this letter to the Galatians, to the school in Galatia, and he's saying, stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ made us free. What is this saying, man? What is this saying? What are we talking about? Stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. What is this? What is it saying?
The right to serve the Lord free. I mean, not free.
Okay. Give me one word. Give me two words, but put it in one or two words. Stand fast, meaning what? What does stand fast mean?
Stand strong, or
stand
being
strong in the liberty wherewith Christ made us free. What made you free? What made you free?
Yahushua sacrifices himself.
Okay. No, I mean, yes, but it's simple. What made you free? There's another precept for that too, but what made you free?
The truth.
The truth. The truth. The truth made us free. Knowing we were Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians are the children of God. That's the truth.
Okay.
Knowing the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speak of.
Right.
That's the truth. Knowing Christ from the tribe of Judah was a so-called Negro with woolly hair and dark skin. That's the truth.
Right.
Knowing the so-called Mexicans are from the tribe of Issachar. That's the truth. Knowing the 12 tribe charts, knowing the curses in Deuteronomy, knowing why we're destroyed. That's the truth.
Right.
And knowing that the only way that we'll rule the kingdom of heaven is by coming back to our identity and keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the truth.
Right.
And that Christ and God don't love everybody, but he only loves his people. That's the truth. And that's what made us free, Kayado. I mean, Makawa. That made us free. That was strong enough to free us from weed habits. That was strong enough to free us from cocaine habits, drug addiction, all drug, anything to do with drugs. A lot of us were big drug dealers. I can almost tell, just knowing. But a lot of us were just really street guys. A lot of us were whoremongers, all kind of stuff. We would
Right.
never have stopped if we didn't learn the truth. That's what made us free. A lot of us could never stop smoking cigarettes in the world, but the truth made you. We were slaves to those chains, but that made us. And it's easy to forget once we start looking at other, all this other advertisement. Listening to all these other people doing all kind of, especially women, our women, man, our sisters. So they're gullible at times. That's why the most, as the word naive, where they're neon to Eve. They believe anything. They just hear all these women empowerment, and not that sisters are here, but I'm just saying, start believing. A lot of us can forget what freed us from the wicked bastards that we used to be. And we turn our backs on our brothers because we start listening to other doctrines, other teachings. Somebody put something that made you doubt. It made us doubt the truth. And Paul is saying, stand fast. Read on. Stand fast.
Kawakam. The
Stand
book of
fast.
the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1. Stand fast, therefore in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
And saying, don't go back to that. A lot of us will go back to that, man.
Right.
Once a brother check you, once a brother, you didn't like how the general said it. Sometimes the general is speaking, he sound like he talking to you. Like, man, what does the general know? What are you doing, brother? And Paul is saying, man, don't forget about what made you free. Don't go back. Don't entangle yourself again. Once again, you can watch anything. Watch anything. Look, stuff is entertaining out there. I understand it. The white man is the devil the Bible speak of. I know some of it, he can make good stuff. I know he provided, Netflix and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all kind of stuff to keep you just entertained and feed you with all kind of sweets and bread and all of that. Once again, I'm just making a metaphor. But don't eat everything. Don't eat everything. Don't, matter of fact, don't eat none of it.
Right.
Once again, I like watching all of that. I watch all of that. I watch all the Joe Rogans, and I watch all the podcasts and the sport podcast, all of that. I don't watch nothing Christian though. I can't do it. Nothing Christian I watch. I just
right.
That I don't never like. That's like going into the bakery and looking at what bread I don't like, and one bread that fruit cake or something like that.
I know you're talking about.
I don't even look at that. What the freak is that? So I don't watch none of that. But some of this other stuff could be entertaining and interesting and stuff.
Right.
But I would never start. But I'll be damned if I turn my back on what I already know. I already know I'm a prince of the power.
Right.
I already told my family that we're the Israelites. I already told myself that I want to rule, that I want rulership. I already have high self-esteem, for being in here.
Right.
I came in here and I got self-esteem. A lot of us were listening to all these clowns because they talk that talk, man. I knew that was fake when they did it on the Andrew Tate guy again, Makawa.
Mm-hmm.
He did a Vice. I seen a clip of a Vice documentary they was doing about him, and he is a real good actor. He's a real good actor. Because he was putting up this front, they do these things because that's what it's selling.
Right.
But that's not who they are. But here, that's who we are.
Right.
And here, we are hardcore.
That's right.
And those who can't make the cut, you'll know they didn't make the cut.
Right.
And here, we are taught to be long suffering. And here, we are taught about we teach about sacrifice. And for the sake of the Lord's people, for a real value. And here we don't molest women, we don't abuse women. That's the
Right.
truth. And that when I see everything else, I know what not to eat.
That's right.
I know what not to believe in. I don't believe
Right.
these nuts. I just watch them. And that's what Paul is saying. Read on.
Come. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 2. Behold, I, Paul, say unto you that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing.
Just like right now. Yes, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is important. That is a commandment. We commemorate it. We will always do it.
Right.
The circumcision was just as important. It was a law as well. But that's just the symbolism of it. Because if you do it and then you really do everything else, if you don't eat none of the yeast this whole 7 days, but you start doubting and you're doing other things that are against God and against this truth, then it was for nothing. You might as well eat all the goddamn Subway. You might as well have ate all the cake.
Right.
That'd have been better. It would have been better for you to eat all the cake and all the leavening and all because you just glutton and you just can't resist it, than for you to keep that and nothing else. A lot of us do that. A lot of us sometimes we become traditional. Like, we're gonna do we're gonna do these things, but everything else, you become like the world. We become like the Christians that we hate.
Right.
Only talk to your mama on Mother's Day. That type of spirit.
Right.
But that's why Christ said, "Behold, I Paul say unto you that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing." Because what he's saying is, a lot of them brothers then got circumcised because they used to argue about that. Just like all these other groups want to argue with us about, certain things and the way we eat the lamb, and I've seen all kind of nonsense. Well, what is the bitter herb? What is like, man, that's not important, man. The brotherhood is important.
That's right.
The sisterhood, that's important.
Right.
God damn, all that other stuff. We ate the lamb. We drank the wine. The herb is in the gravy. I don't know. You didn't make the Passover, so you are wrong.
Right.
Oh well, nah. You whatever, man. You just making an excuse not to be in the truth, not to be with your brothers, not to serve Christ. And that's what Paul was saying. Yeah, y'all over there disputing the circumcision, but that don't even mean nothing. Read on.
Come. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 3. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised that he's a debtor to the whole law.
Because you know what? If that's the case, then look, don't you make a mistake. Because then you just, if that's the case, because that means, look, if that's the way you want to take it, then you will also kill a brother for anything.
Right.
You ain't even keeping anything. You ain't even trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Come. The book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 4. Christ is become of no effect unto you.
Then the teachings of Christ don't mean anything. The teaching of Christ, the teaching of Christ is to love your brother as yourself.
That's right.
And if you listen to these other doctrines, you'll hate your brother because these other doctrines will teach you to steal from your brother,
Right.
your sister. You'll realize who their leaders are and you'll be just like them. But the teachings of Christ, because you want to, do things in tradition, then what Christ taught means nothing. Read on.
Come with come. The book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 4. Christ has become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are fallen from grace.
That doesn't mean not to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Once again, Christians don't understand this scripture. Fake groups don't understand this scripture. Anybody else don't understand this scripture. It doesn't mean don't keep the law. It doesn't mean don't not, keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread or eat the Passover and the wine. And doesn't mean not to, do the things the law says. It's saying you can't justify yourself by these things. In the law, if you didn't make a Passover, what would happen? What would happen, Makawa?
So what now, sir? Salaki.
In the law, if you don't make a Passover, what happens?
If I'm not mistaken, I want to. Was it death, or would you exclude kicked out the nation or something like that?
You be kicked out the nation.
Come.
You will never come back and be an Israelite. I mean, you be an Israelite by blood, but we will never accept you.
Right.
In the law. Now, according to that, all of us will never be Israelites again.
Right.
I done missed all the Passovers all the way up to I was like 28.
Right.
Some of us miss Passovers now because of your slavery. But we won't excommunicate you.
Right.
We won't kick you out the nation because we're in slavery. We're in captivity. Because we have what? I just said it. Because we have
grace.
What? Because we have grace. That's what Christ is saying. Like, if that's the case, a lot of times, a lot of us didn't make some high holy days. And we got grace, but it doesn't mean to just because you have grace, you do these things and you, oh man, I'm just gonna do like Christianity teaches you to be like that. To be sinful, thinking that you're just gonna be forgiven and forgiven and forgiven until you die.
Right.
A horrible death. Read on.
Come. The book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 5.
Oh, by the way, in the law, if you ate shrimp crab, in the law, if they found yeast in your house, the priest probably will kill you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Come.
That's not the justification. And a lot of these brothers probably became bloodthirsty. They just looking for who making a mistake to kill them. Just like the Sadducees and Pharisees always wanted to tempt Christ about what he did. If he picked corn on the Sabbath. They never understood grace. They never understood mercy. They never understood brotherhood, man.
Right.
Now, brotherhood doesn't mean to let your brothers do whatever the hell they want to do, but it means to be merciful, but to check them, correct them, be corrected. When I get corrected, I understand it's because they love me.
Right.
When I get corrected, I feel better. I feel good afterwards.
That's right.
If somebody above me correct me, I'm talking about a good correction. I'm talking about that correction that, when you're there, you feel like a child. A tear might almost roll out your eye. That type of correction makes me better. Read on.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 5. For we, through the Spirit, wait for the hope of righteousness by faith.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. For in Yahweh Shah Mashiach, neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love.
Now look at what it's saying. It's saying in Christ, you're circumcised or uncircumcised. That don't mean nothing. But the faith which worketh by love. And we all know that love is keeping the commandments.
Right.
The faith is blacks, Hispanics. We ain't all of it. Look, we not all of us ain't circumcised. All of us didn't make a Passover since we was children. We believe that this is who we are. So we're gonna love each other by keeping the commandments, and therefore that's how we are, that's how we're in Christ. That's how we're, for we through the Spirit wait for the hope of righteousness. That's how we become righteous.
Right.
In the work that we do. Like, man, listen, like I said, we're keeping the feast of unleavened bread.
That's right.
I never kept the feast of unleavened bread when I was growing up. I didn't know what the hell that was. I heard about it. I heard about it in the Bible, but they didn't know how to keep it. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to do it. They didn't know the meaning of it. Because we could never attach ourselves to the people that those things belong to because of fake and false doctrines. So we really were never a part of it. So right now, the fact that we do it, but it's not about the bread or the leavening or, the lamb and the bitter herbs. I mean, that really is no meaning. The meaning is, can I not look at Michael Wall and want to murder him or sleep with his wife or steal his money or sell him drugs or get high with him? That's the truth. That's the reality. I would never harm that brother because he is a prince of the power.
Right.
That's the faith that worketh by love. Because you know what? If God loved Makawa, God loved every black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, then I'm going to love every black and Hispanic and Native American Indian. And the wicked things that I did to my own people in the world, I won't ever do it again.
Right.
That's what makes us free. And that's what makes us righteous. Read on.
Come. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 7. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that ye should not obey the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 8. This persuasion cometh not of him that calleth you. Verse 9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
A little what?
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
Read verse 7 again.
Come. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 7. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that ye shall not obey the truth?
Listen, if you come in here, you change, nothing's stopping you that you should obey the truth. That you should not obey the truth. Nobody's hindering you from doing this work. The one that calleth us is not, the Most High is not hindering us from doing this work. But I'm going to tell you who does hinder us from doing this work. Other doctrines, other teachings.
Right.
Want to join with other groups.
Right.
That's how I know that this is the truth. Because Commander General Hunter wants to keep it pure. Pure. Like how it always should have been.
That's right.
And that's the spirit of the Most High. And that's the spirit of Christ. That's the spirit of love. But it's saying, read verse 9.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 9. A little leaven,
A what?
leaveneth, a little leaven.
A little bit of leaven, a little bit of believing in, you know, this, propaganda. A little bit of believing, another group. A little bit of believing in this society's politics, in this society's money. A lot of us, man, we come in the truth, we changed, then all of a sudden we become, you know, because a lot of us, because we became so cleaned in here, and we became so, the Lord changed us so good, we were able to go get us another job outside, get us a slavery.
Right.
Because we got back in we got back in order, and we became super. Like, oh man, because I was talking to somebody that I was with over the weekend, and we was like, man, I ain't gonna mention his name because I don't know if he want me to mention this, but it's somebody in Israel. But he was like, man, you know what, Lahab? Because of this truth, I was able to be a supervisor over here, and I was able to, out of here, I was able to be great, even amongst, the other nations. A lot of us do that. And then what happens? Then we forget about the truth. Then we forget about the brotherhood. Then we no longer come around as much. We no longer call each other as much. Now the money got better over there, so put in more hours, more money. Money is also a philosophy. Money is also an idea. It's a little leaven. It's a little bit. And what does a little leaven do? Read that again.
A little, Salaki. The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. That little bit of idea, man. Now your boss made you a general manager in his company. You gotta work, these extra hours. You can no longer work on Saturdays. I mean, you gotta work Saturdays for that bonus. Now you no longer come to camp. Slavery has become more important. That idea that you're gonna get rich. That idea of getting rich is a little bit of leaven. Now, once again, there's nothing wrong with getting rich. There's nothing wrong with becoming a wealthy man, woman. By all means, do so. But never believe in that idea.
Right.
And I mean this. Never let that be the reason it hinders you from this work. From what made you truly free.
That's right.
From what made us truly free. Like, once again, going to that, or joining a bike club, or playing sports again. Like, all of that stuff we can do. All of that, some of that stuff. This is scripture. Give me find where it says and hold that. We'll just keep it on. We know that a little leaven the whole lump. Give me everything is permitted.
Come.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Come, I think I do.
Let me see where is that. I get it. Give me 1 Corinthians 10. 10 and 23. Like, man, listen. It's okay to go to the gym. It's okay to, as long as you're not raping, murdering, stealing, selling drugs, having unlawful sex, having, committing fornication and getting high. Man, look, you can play baseball, you can play basketball, you can get a lot of money, you can become the CEO of a company. I was talking to an officer, and he was like, man, yeah, I was like, yo, I think the work I do. I said, I think somebody that I deal with, a client of mine, probably seen me with this, and God said the guy changed on me over the weekend. He kept it short and didn't want to. I was like, man, he might have seen me on that rock because I'm full blown in the picture and the
Right.
video that they posted on the news observer. He's like, man, he might have seen you. He's like, man, he probably seen you. And I was like, who cares?
Right.
So what? He must if he got a problem, if he ain't said nothing, he's a coward.
Right. That
If he
part.
saw me in this brotherhood, I would never be ashamed of this brotherhood. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Damn right.
If he saw me blazing that cap, eating with my brothers, taking photos with my brothers in my garment and my headpiece, and dapping my brothers up, these black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, these tribes of Israel, and because of what he heard in the news about us, he don't want to deal with me no more. Then so be it, man.
Right.
I'm not gonna starve.
Right.
Put it like this: I won't be homeless tomorrow, because for the most part, I work for myself. I don't know. He's not my boss.
Right.
Commander General Hunter, Christ is my boss.
That's right.
He if they fire me over there, or I can no longer fight in slavery. Listen. Look, I seen Israel. I seen the economy of Israel. I'm tempted to just be in here, just come in here and just do all kind of listen. Israel, we building a nation, man.
That's right.
And listen, the economy in this nation. And I seen that this weekend. I was like, man, you know what? Shit. It's a locket. Can I take the garment department? It's a locket. Can I make pencils or something? I don't know.
Right.
Listen, brother, some brothers like gonna make a lot of money in Israel, man.
Damn right. Good.
That's lovely, man. That's everything. So I don't give a damn about if my boss saw me on the news and he says you're fired. You can no longer work here. I'll be like, all right, well, we'll just go take these skills to Israel fully. I'm not gonna be homeless. They ain't kicking me out. I got somewhere to be. I got somewhere to stay.
Right.
Because I didn't believe in that idea. I didn't believe in that philosophy of America. I didn't believe in that. I didn't take that concept and made it reality for me. The reality for me is being in here, sacrificing, getting corrected here, sacrificing for this brotherhood. That's my reality. That should be our reality. Every one of us. Not, that you become the next Lil Wayne or whatever.
Right.
Or the next Andrew Tate and drive Ferraris and get into the, like I said, man, I see why some brothers, and I don't know if man, look, we got some talent in here, but I see why some brothers will probably never be that known in the world because they won't ever switch this truth.
That's right.
They know, man, I'd rather they know the future. They know this is where their treasure is.
Damn right.
This is where they'll be okay in here. They don't need the world. They need their brothers. Because a little leaven leavens the whole lump. Because if I start just believing in everything, now listen, man. When I'm out there in the world, I perform, and my slavery, I'm the best. So I try to be the best. But I don't give a damn about that. I give a damn about this brotherhood, man. Read on.
Come. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient.
Like I said, what does it mean by all things are lawful for you?
So like all the things that you know that you indulge in, that's not breaking against the law. Like you said, keeping a job, working out, making money,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly. Christians will take this as, going to the strip club. The strip club is law. Is lawful. No,
Right.
all the things that are not. Okay, what precept? What's the precept for this? What's the precept to this precept?
So like what's it? Where there's no law, there's no transgression.
Where there's no law, there's no transgression. So that's what this scripture is saying. Listen, there's no law against playing, pool, but it might not be beneficial to go play pool where they bet money and people, it's no law against gambling. I love to
Right.
gamble. But there's some places I just won't gamble in, or I won't gamble around. I won't go to a bunch of street brothers and me being, and just go gamble with them. There's no law against like I said, getting rich and wealthy, but I won't believe in every scheme that's out, and I'm not gonna go with every scheme. I mean, I'm not gonna go and be everything that's about money and wealth, because that might take me away from the truth. That's what this scripture is saying. All things are lawful. Read on.
Come. The book of First Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient.
Uh-huh.
All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not.
Because everything doesn't edify us, man. A little
Right.
leaven leavens the whole lump. Because then you start, being everything else in the world, man. You could be like it's not unlawful to be a rapper.
Right.
Be a rapper. It's not unlawful. What else? What else, Kiara War? I mean, what else, Michael Ward? Play football. It's not unlawful to play football and make it to the pros by all means.
Right.
But everything is not going to edify us.
That part.
Becoming a football player will not build this nation.
Right.
If that was the case, we would already be to the next level. All these football players some of these football players make so much money, it's ridiculous.
Right.
They can damn near take this whole nation and, with a quarter of the money they have.
Right.
One of them, who was this? R.J. Smith, or one of these basketball players was telling, he's like, man, we could have been. He's like, man, we all took, just put up $1 million, all of us. We would have built a facility. We'd have built our own league. They know
Right.
it. They know it. They know it. But because they don't have the wisdom of the Most High, they don't have the truth, they'll never be free from their own. Their money is their master.
Right.
So they'll never be free from that. And if we come in the truth and we're free, and we go back to making a lot of money, that's cool. But then if you start believing in that doctrine and that philosophy, you'll be back entangling yourself with that bondage again.
Right.
And you'll be hindered from this work, from this truth, from building this nation. Man, I've seen these brothers, man, in garment and like with garments this week, and I'm like, man, imagine that's just the norm to dress like that. Like because you gotta go to slavery. Sometimes you can't take but imagine when you just a slave master out here. This is how you dress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the kingdom of heaven, man. I was like, oh, that's hard. Like I seen some garments that was like, good night. I need that. I need that right there.
Right.
I'll pay whatever. I mean, I'll save it, but it's just
damn right.
That's the beauty of it. We can build our nation that it's about us, about this spirit. And we don't have to, like, man, I'll be looking at some of these people that got money, and I realize, man, them guys are soft. Like, I was looking at the way Mayweather dressed, Makawa.
Very effeminate.
Like that guy has a lot of money, but he has no manhood no more.
Right.
Like he's just dressing these designer, because all the designers are gay.
Skinny jeans.
So if you put any designer like brand Louis Vuitton, and that spirit of that gay spirit is on you, brother. And that's the politically correct word, right? Gay. I can say gay, right? Gay. They're gay. Like Louis Vuitton, Gucci. What else? Keanu wore? I mean, Malkawa. Salaki, brother. Yeah, I'm just using Keanu wore.
Oh yeah, no sweat, sir.
And you look just as hardcore as him, so Salaki.
The water, sir.
But
Ralph Lauren, Saint Laurent.
All they gay. They all gay. But it wasn't nothing gay about the garments brothers was wearing this weekend.
Damn right.
Good night. It was the spirit of God was in them garments, man.
Con.
Because brothers don't believe in in those other philosophies and other doctrines, man. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. We in this truth. We start straying away from it a little bit and believing in your slavery and the positions in your slavery, your woman, what she tell you to do. A lot of us, our leaven is our women. Our ribs, and we have ribs outside of outside of the truth. Hey, Lord be with us, brother.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you what. This our first wife right here.
Damn right.
This our first love right here. Like this what freed me. So if I leave it, then damn, what does that say about me?
Right.
Once again, all things are lawful, man. We could do all those things. We can be rich. We can be, poor. We can believe in. Look, we can be what they call it, Star Wars. Star Wars junkies.
Right.
I can, if you like Star Wars, I mean, I don't know, anime, whatever. But all of that stuff it's good for everything. Isn't good. Everything meaning everything doesn't benefit us.
Right.
It doesn't benefit me to, play sports, especially at this age. I ain't becoming no athlete, super athlete, or rapper or whatever. But I can become somebody in the UPK in the work of the Lord. Read on.
Come on. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 24. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth.
All right, drop that. Any questions or comments? Makawa, anybody, any sister? Brother, sister got a question or comment before we wrap it up? You got any comments, Makawa, about this weekend?
This weekend was glorious. That's all I gotta say.
Man,
Salaki.
Man, once again, go ahead.
One sister asked, she said, Salaki, is it to eat in haste and not waste and suffer with Yahushua?
La'a says that's not the purpose of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I just went over it. I just went over the spirit of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The spirit of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is to watch out for the leavening of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, meaning for the leavening of these other doctrines, these other philosophies, out there that a lot of you brothers and sisters may fall victims to, man. That's what we got to watch out for. Anybody else teaching you, if you hear General Muhammad being, really, really brutally honest about the spirit, the demons that are on you, and then you hear another group talking about, how they let their women, design their clothing, and they got a department where they do teachings and they get this, they have, that type of junk. That's the leavening you got to watch out for. Like where it's contrary to the scripture. But a lot of you women want power as well.
Right.
You let these other guys, because they want to get all in your box, fill you with these ideas that you you can be with them and and have some position or some power, and you're a queen. That leavening you got to watch out for, sisters. When them brothers start saying, "Oh, you're a queen, you're a goddess," and you start believing that junk, that garbage, and then he molests your daughter. Then you know that leavening you got to watch out for.
Right.
That's what the scripture. That's what this feast is about. Yeah, like we're not gonna eat. We're not gonna eat the physical leavening agents. Yeah, we're watching out for that, but that's not what we got to watch out for. Really, we got to watch out for that those other things, them philosophies, and them doctrines. So I mean, give it up to Commander Junior Hana, man, once again.
Damn right.
For the glorious 54th annual Passover, man. Raleigh, North Carolina, man. It was big. Nothing stopped us, and that's fear is also a leavening agent in the spiritual realm. Because I remember when I first seen the news, everybody was like, "Oh man," and I was like, "Damn, man, wait a minute, this is the Lord's Passover. What's wrong with me?
Right.
What's wrong with me doubting that we don't have a Passover?" Then I heard
Right.
Muhammad say it. I was like, "Damn, that's why I love this truth." You
Damn
think you're
right.
going to stop us from having our Passover? We'll do that thing outside, man. We'll be
Right.
outside in the rain and the whatever, but we'll do it. Like I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. So, once again, fear is also a leavening agent in the spiritual world, where you're afraid that what they'll say about you being with these brothers. Once again, I won't, what your slavery will say, or anybody. Some of us are afraid to leave our women because, she talks about all she gets on you about these other wives. Forget that. If
Right.
you leave, let her leave. She
Right.
want to stay, she can stay.
Damn right.
A lot of us ain't even looking for other ribs. We're just here.
Right.
But it can happen. It can happen.
Go God.
I'm just making an assumption of things, man. But that's the leavening we got to watch out for. The things that would, hinder us and that would take us back to those bondages that we were once slaves to, man. That's the spirit. Salaki says, Sister Sakura. That's what this is about. That's the spirit behind this feast. Like everything is a spirit behind it. The feast, the Passover had a spirit behind it.
Damn
It
right.
was brotherhood, unity, coming together. The Day of Atonement that has a spirit behind it. Sacrifice, as long as suffering. All of it, all the high holy days. There's a spirit behind it. The Feast of Tabernacles, not getting to conform to being comfortable. Our forefathers had to be uncomfortable in the wilderness. I mean, I could go on and on about it, but the spirit of this is for those that same. And I just went and did a breakdown on that, man. But once again, it was a glorious Passover, man. Commander Junior Hana did, wow. I mean, shoot. I don't even know what the next. I'm just now looking forward to the next one, Makawa.
Damn right, sir. Everybody is.
I mean, it's like, well, what's next? What's next? A
Right.
Coliseum? What's next? A
Damn.
Coliseum?
Cow might as well.
Might as well a Coliseum, man. Shoot. I mean, look, some stadium. I don't know.
NFL stadium. I'm with it.
I mean, it don't even matter. I mean, outside. I'll do it outside, like the general said.
Right.
So then you can't stop the Lord's hand.
That's right.
The Lord said it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done, and He don't need me. Christ told them that if they didn't worship, the stones themselves would worship. That's the faith. That's the power of the Most High in Christ. Christ told them, look, man, because the Sadducees, once again, the Sadducees want to put that doubt, that spirit of the Sadducees and Pharisees to put that doubt in you. oh well, why are these people worshiping? Why are you, you know, hey man, if they don't worship, then the stones themselves will worship.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's the most high.
Khan.
That's the most high. This work is gonna get done with with without you or me. That's why we should be honored and feel so privileged that we got this opportunity. I feel so privileged to be part of this 12 tribe chart, to be part of
Damn
this
right.
brotherhood, man. To be proud, just privilege more than any position that we can, obtain in Esau's kingdom.
Right.
And that's, man, and I'm just looking at it grow. I'm like, shoot. I mean, no offense to nobody out there, but like everybody like salute. Everybody knew me. Like everybody knew me, and I knew a lot of them, but I didn't know all of them.
Right.
I didn't know all the brothers. But I just like, damn, this how
Growing.
this is how much the Lord and the brotherhood has accepted me. And I'd be damned to drop my sword
Damn right.
to let these brothers, first of all, I don't want nobody to call me no coward or nothing. We
Damn
want
right.
no cowards in our camp.
Khan. Khan.
I don't want that. I don't want to be the coward that's not in the camp.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want my cupboard hanging nowhere. That's mine.
Damn right.
I fought for it. I served this brotherhood for it, man. Once again, man, glorious Passover, man. Let's keep up the feast on unleavened bread, man. Keep diligent, and the other leaven, that's the one that we really got to be worried about. I think it's going to go all the way down to Sunday, and Sunday at even. I don't know if we'll have something here, but I think we will. We can eat all the bread. And somebody bring out the cakes, the pizza, whatever. Or
Damn right.
go another 7 days. I don't know.
Damn right.
You need to go another 7 days anyway.
Right.
So at the end of the day, man, big ups to the whole ISUPK Raleigh, ISUPK Charlotte, ISUPK Durham, the whole North Carolina schools, man. They made that. I got to kill a lamb, my Makawa. Did you see me kill a
Nah.
lamb? Man,
I saw Abraham, so I saw Abraham. I didn't see you though.
I got to slaughter a lamb, man.
That's glorious.
I feel like, in the wilderness, I had to, I had to, man. It's
So like I did see that, sir. I remember you showed me the video.
Yeah,
I feel like I remember that. Yeah.
I'm planning on doing that again. We got to eat that
Damn
lamb
right.
too, man. But yeah,
Come on.
the brotherhood was so righteous, man, and just so glorious, man. I mean, I'm old, so I can't attend to everything no more. I just get tired, man. I don't feel like being out 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, bro. But hey, the water, all power, more power to brothers that can, I try next year, man. But I was in a lot of things though. And hey, man, it was a glorious Passover, man. With that, man, tune in to next year, man. Next Passover. But from here on out, we got a few more high holy. They talking about doing the Feast of Tabernacles out there in England, out there in the UK. Good night. You going? The UK, man. That's how big the UPK is, man. That's how big this nation is growing, man. With that, man, I'm gonna pass the class over to priest and Officer Michael Wild, man. With that, with that, we're gonna go ahead and clip up the class. Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Barakatah, Yahweh Shema Taba Hashim Yahweh Shah. Tune in tomorrow, Wednesday law class with Officer Shabaya Allah. I'm pretty sure he's gonna go into more breakdown about this Feast of Unleavened Bread and the law and all that good stuff, man. The law class tomorrow. Tune in, man. ISUPK, man. We're building this nation, building this kingdom, all the way down to, from the Negro to the so-called Mexicans, man. We're gonna build the Lord's kingdom, because when He comes, He'll have a nation to rule over. With that, shalom.